It cost $25.5 million to turn a vineyard into a racetrack, and it was worth it. On Sunday, September 6, 1970, during the Labor Day weekend, the newest, most modern raceway in the world, the Ontario Motor Speedway, opened with the inaugural running of the California 500. California racing fans were eager for the thrills of Indianapolis-style competition. By 10 o'clock, a full hour before race time, the grandstands were full. A paid attendance of 180,223 spectators anxiously awaited the start of their first California 500. Ontario was patterned after Indianapolis with an identical 2.5-mile track, but there are differences. Lloyd Ruby, who has driven more miles at Indianapolis than any other current driver, compared the tracks prior to his qualifying run.
It is quite a bit different than the Speedway, although you have 4 turns, the same straightaway, but here you have a little bit more bank coming off the turns and through the short chutes, and it does hold the car a lot better, and that's the reason it speeds up quite a bit more than what it did at the Speedway.
It was supposed to have been the same measurements and everything as Indianapolis, and of course the distance is the same, but the banking in the turns is a little bit higher, and the pavement's a little different, and we get a little stickier conditions, so you can run faster. That's why you saw some pretty fast speeds this morning. When Lloyd Ruby qualified at 177, of course, nobody's ever run that speed at Indy.
Lloyd Ruby won the coveted pole position with a qualifying run of 177.567 miles per hour. Joe Leonard's 3-year-old qualifying record at Indianapolis is 171.559 miles per hour. Lloyd Ruby and Art Pollard called it right on. Ontario is fasting. Here they come. The pace car pulls off, and 33 of the fastest qualifying cars look for that green flag to start the inaugural California 500. And there it is. Lloyd Ruby takes the lead, with Al Unser challenging Dan Gurney for the number 2 spot. Unser takes it on the back straight, and into turn 3, it's Ruby, Unser, and Gurney. Though designed and built with safety in mind, the Ontario Motor Speedway does have some peculiarities of its own. Roger McCluskey talked about turn 3 before the race.
It is a little unusual from what we've run on in the past, and the reason for it is the rear straightaway is elevated 25 feet higher than the front straightaway, so the fans can all see the complete racetrack. What you run into as you go into 3, you drop down slightly. In other words, the turn, instead of being up flat, just kind of banks off and drops just a little bit. So when you go in, the turn is kind of go over a little hump and then down in the turn, and it's just something that we're going to have to get used to.
Veteran Jim Hurtubise never completes his first lap as turn 3 claims its first victim. Al Unser grabs the lead from Ruby, who might be having engine trouble. On the 42nd lap, a broken camshaft forces top qualifier Lloyd Ruby out of the California 500. He is the 10th driver to be eliminated because of mechanical trouble. Unser, the leader, makes his first pit stop on the 47th lap. For the next few seconds, the race takes place in the pits. Dan Gurney, running second, now has an opportunity to take the lead. Streaking down the main straight, Gurney passes Unser, still in the pits, to take the lead. A disappointed A.J. Foyt, plagued since the start of the race, makes his 4th pit stop of the day. He has thus far spent a total of 35 minutes in the pits. Turn 3 takes its second victim out of the race on the 98th lap as Dan Gurney crashes the wall. The uninjured Gurney climbs out of his car and out of the race. This year's Indy 500 winner, Al Unser, driving the Johnny Lightning Special, is now in the lead. On the 169th lap, turn 3 chalks up its 3rd and final victim of the day as Joe Leonard blows a tire and spins off into the infield. The strain of running at top speed for over 3 hours takes its toll. While running in third place, Mario Andretti drops out with mechanical trouble. After leading the race for over 80 laps, Al Unser in car number 2 can't get his engine to fire up coming out of his final pit stop and has to pull off the track and out of the race with a blown turbocharger. The crowd looks for a new leader. Leroy Yarbrough of stock car fame takes the lead, driving car number 32 for the former world champion Jack Brabham. Luck runs out for Leroy after leading for 5 laps as his engine strains and blows the turbocharger. With Yarbrough out of the race, Art Pollard, number 64, takes the lead, with Jim McElreath in Foyt's backup car number 14 running second. A.J. Foyt crashes the wall with only 5 laps remaining in the race. If the race continues under the yellow caution light caused by Foyt's accident, the cars will be required to hold this position and Pollard will win. Foyt, in an attempt to aid McElreath, helps the emergency crew clear the track. And on the 196th lap, the green flag is out and McElreath passes Pollard on the straightaway. McElreath keeps the lead for the last 4 laps, but it's still a very close win. In a race that took 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 22 seconds, McElreath's winning margin is just 2 seconds. But it's enough to place him in the winner's circle and the Ontario record book. A very happy A.J. Foyt congratulates his teammate. Jim McElreath is the winner of the first California 500.